if no one's watching.
That's right. Well, at least we'll be talking to each other.
That's right. We have each other, Carrie.
We do. We do. I have a feeling we'll have some folks join us. It just usually takes a minute for people to realize that we're live. So,
yeah. Well, this is my first one, so I'm happy just to sit here with you and learn the controls.
Right. I'll be your guinea pig because you were mine.
Totally. That's why I'm like, oh, cool. This will be like the reverse. Did you see the Lioness Lifestyle yesterday?
I did not. My brother was. I'm going to watch it though. I am watching the replay, but no, my brother came last night and we hung out. Awesome. So yeah, he works shift work, and so his off days are like in the middle of the week, and so he'll come over like sometimes. A lot of times he'll go to my dad's house too and take my dad like to the grocery store or whatever during the day on his day off, and then but he'll come see me. So we had a good time. We went and ate at a Mexican restaurant, and he's the one he's not carnivore, but he is low carb.
Okay.
And he does eat vegetables, but he ordered the same steak and eggs like I ordered. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's so awesome. We had the same thing, steak and eggs last night, and It was delicious. It's a really good restaurant. So we had a good time hanging out together.
Susan, it's nice to see you. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for joining us.
I got to click over here on comments so I can see them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, yes, and Sandra. Yep. All right, good. It's good to see people coming in.
I know, you guys, this is my yes, we did Lioness last night, but I had help with my two co-hosts. So this is my first one, running it all by myself. So I was asking Carrie if she was able to watch, and that's why she was telling me no, she was with her brother. But it was Lindsay's turn to speak. And what I was trying to do was the feature that makes the speaker bigger and the other two people smaller. And I made myself bigger and I wasn't. And poor Lindsay's in this little box, trying to tell, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. But I couldn't show panic on my face. I just had to pretend like it wasn't me and I didn't notice. But I finally got it back to at least all three of us were, in the same view. So it wasn't too bad. So you'll see now when you go watch it, Carrie, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Now I'll know what happened. I'll have the scoop.
Then you'll know what happened. That was me. I attempted it. I don't know how to make one particular person bigger, but I'll figure it. I'm afraid to try it again now. I'll just make myself.
Well, go ahead and try it. It's not going to hurt anything.
Well, all right. Let's see. So there's me.
So there's you. Okay.
So now there's three people in the little box, and no matter what I click, I can't make you bigger. That's the part I don't understand. I can't switch it. I can make myself bigger. Maybe she has to make her own self bigger. I don't know. So
let's see. Well,
so I can make it back like this. Mm-hmm. As soon as I click the button that's one big person and other little people, it's like that. It just makes me bigger.
I wonder if it has to do with the version of StreamYard you have.
I mean, we have the paid version, the three of us, we share it, so we're not using the free version. So I don't know. Have you been able to make a guest bigger?
I've never tried.
Never tried. Okay. Well, you can try it and tell me if you can figure it out. Anyways, the people watching don't care about this, Carrie. I'm sorry to bring it up. Hey, my fitness challenge is done.
Okay. So
that's big news. And yesterday was my day 30. So I took today off, Carrie. I did not sprint today. And my legs are very happy.
I'll bet they are. They're like, yeah. Whoo, what are you trying to do to us, girl?
Because I did it every day. I found out about 2 weeks in, you're not supposed to do it every day. But I was like, well, I'm in it now. So I'm just going to finish my 30 days.
And so you're going to be racing the kids soon.
I am. I'm going to try to do it tomorrow if my legs will. Well, they're a lot less sore today because they're like, okay, she didn't sprint. We can recover. And on Carnivore, when I sleep, it just is so much better. I get just a more regenerating effect. So it's in the morning, any little aches and pains that I had from whatever, are kind of gone. So I'm thinking probably in the morning I'll be good to go and I can race them. So I'll fill you in. But my video is up. on the results video of all like my inches and well, I wasn't focusing on weight, but there's weight in there because, you know, it's a scale, but it's an in-body scale. So I have my muscle mass, my fat, my visceral fat, my bone density, like all that stuff. So it was good results. I don't want to give it away in case anybody hasn't watched the video yet, but I'll say this: I did lose 6.2 pounds in 30 days, and the only thing I did different was I sprinted. So I deleted all other exercise and I sprinted every morning. I did not fast. I did not change my food. I ate whatever I wanted, which consisted of a bunch of ribeyes and picanha. And, you know, I made those crepes that day and my, you know, my eggs and all my things. I didn't fast. I didn't change my food. So yeah, 6.2 pounds.
Well, that could very well be the breakthrough that somebody watching could, you know, they might be stalled or something, and people are always looking for something to do to, you know, to help them overcome a stall. So this might be something really good that somebody could try. And of course, sprinting is just good for you anyway. I have sore legs, but for a different reason. You may have heard me talk a little bit about it the other night, or I guess it was it was Monday. Gosh, this week has been, it's like you have to stop and think, what day is it? But my friend James and I went on a hike Saturday, and he had taken me on this hike a year ago, and we were a little ways into it, and it was at Percy Warner Park, and it's very, very hilly there. And a year ago, you know, we hadn't gone very far. I don't know how far it was. It's a 6-mile hike, but I would say we had gone maybe like a quarter of a mile or something. And I mean, just all these hills. And I asked him, I said, are there more hills like this on this trail? And he said, well, yeah. And I'm like, we got to do another trail. We can't do this one. I can't do it. And that was a year ago. Well, this year, I didn't realize we've gone to a lot of different trails, but we hadn't gone back to this particular one. And so we went Saturday, and I did it. I did the whole trail. I will tell you, though, it was a challenge. I mean, between the tree roots sticking up, the rocks, the angle that you were, you know, you had to step up really high, and you just had to maneuver around. And it was a challenge. And I did very well most of the way through it. And I guess it was maybe about the last like half mile where my legs really started getting fatigued, though. And I was just like, golly, you know, I don't know. Maybe if I did that trail more often, I wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I walk in my neighborhood, I mean, there's hills in the neighborhood, and I take the hills on purpose. But the terrain is not rough.
Yeah, it's
not a challenging terrain. So while you're definitely pushing up that hill, and there's a lot of effort that goes with it, you're not also trying to make sure that you don't slip on some shale or that kind of thing. So it was a challenge. I'm proud of myself that I did it. Of course, there wasn't much of a choice once we were so far in there. He was like,
he says, live out there.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm really proud of you. You made it. I said, well, what choice did I have? I said, well, you go do the dead man's carry, and I mean,
yeah, seriously. Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's growth, right? A year ago, you couldn't do that, and now you can. A year ago, I wouldn't have been sprinting either because my knee inflammation was so bad. I could walk, but I couldn't like do a squat or run or anything without my knee, having a major complaint. So it's amazing how our bodies get better instead of going the other direction. So I wanted to ask you something. Actually, you just had blood work, right? You had blood work with your doctor, and you were talking all about that. So I was inspired. Kick me right in my butt, Carrie. So I was inspired to call my doctor and make an appointment. So I have one for October 12th. Now, this is my general practitioner doctor, and I probably haven't been to her in a couple of years. And I certainly haven't had blood work since my last pregnancy. So my son's 15. So I have nothing to compare it to. And even at that time for the pregnancy blood work, it was just like, okay. I mean, I didn't look at it. They were like, yeah, you're good, right? Like you're not whatever the things they look for in the pregnancy. And I wasn't concerned with it because that wasn't even on my radar as something that I should, worry about. And yeah, I was certainly not. Yeah, I was just eating standard American diet, whatever. I just didn't care, or I didn't know to care, I guess. And so I don't know what my doctor tests. I called and made the appointment. I have no idea. I told them because it's an annual physical and I want blood work because I need a baseline. But I have no idea what my doctor is going to, like what her standard thing is that she's going to test. I highly, highly doubt that she's meat-based or in any way pro meat-based. So I'm interested to see what she's going to say when I tell her that. But so I don't know, but was there any test that I should ask for? Like that you got?
I asked for fasting insulin.
Okay.
And I asked for my vitamin D25.
Okay.
And I wanted to see just, for example, because I take 10,000 international units of vitamin D a day, and I've been doing that for, I would say about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Or maybe even longer than that. And so my vitamin D25 was at 120, which the like top of the range is 100.
Yeah.
So when they called the second time about my labs to also do the statin pitch, but she said that Dr. Blah blah has recommended that I stop taking my supplement, but I'm gonna just half it. I'm not gonna stop because actually, based on research that I've done and based on information in the Common Sense Labs book, which if you don't have that, I highly recommend that you order it. It's by Kim Howerton and Dr. Berry.
Yes, I've looked at it. I know it's on Amazon now too, because it wasn't on Amazon. I just haven't pulled the trigger, but I did look at it. I should probably do that since I do have an appointment in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that book. It doesn't just list tests. It really goes into detail about what these tests mean and why you should have the test done. And it even gives diagnostic codes for you to give. Like if your doctor says, well, your insurance won't cover that. So it's a really handy book to have. Now, also, if you were to say, for example, like let's pretend that you were having difficulty losing weight and maybe you were feeling sluggish, then you would want to get a full thyroid panel. That's one thing that Dr. Berry recommends a lot for women who are having issues like that.
I used to feel like I would need one. And I know my mom has like a borderline thyroid. And I know when I was pregnant, my thyroid was sort of iffy during my pregnancies. But now that I'm like carnivore, I don't feel that sluggishness anymore. So
yeah, so you may or may not want to ask for that. But the important one for me was the fasting insulin. And that's just because that tells how much insulin your body is actually producing. Now, if a person is diabetic and they're taking insulin, the fasting insulin would not be the test to get. They would need to get the C-peptide instead, because the C-peptide represents the insulin that your body actually makes. And now so many type 2 diabetics are on insulin, and really insulin was designed for type 1s, for people who couldn't produce insulin at all.
Okay, right.
It really wasn't intended for people. And I just watched a wonderful presentation by Dr. Bickman last night, or not last night. It was the night before. Anyway,
I know I want to watch more by him because I've watched a couple of things, and that guy's really interesting. He's the researcher, right?
Yes. And he knows all about metabolic health and insulin and just and he explains a little bit more about just the mechanics behind things, and that we as a society and like the medical community are so focused on keeping your glucose level down that behind the scenes, you're fasting insulin and the insulin in your body just keeps going up and up and up and up. And then your body reaches a certain point where that's not doing any good. And so then it's like you're just then having to take insulin.
Right. That's
And,
like when you're become insulin resistant, right? That's what the definition of insulin resistance is, I think.
Yeah, that there's more to it, and he does an excellent job of explaining that. It's like some of your cells become like they won't take the insulin, or not the insulin, they won't take the glucose out of the body, and so there's this, and then some cells do. So like women who have PCOS, for example, there's a difference between women who have PCOS and then when men have their problem, to where they're not so glad to see you. They it's because of the insulin, but the insulin has different effects, and it's just great how he explains all of that.
Interesting. Okay.
And he does it in a way that he doesn't use all these, $50 words. He really breaks it down into layman's terms. So I highly recommend you watch, anything by him. But because I was concerned about diabetes running in my family, and that was my main concern going on low carb back in 2015, I never had a fasting insulin done. And it was not something that the doctor typically orders.
Okay.
As long as this is the thing, as long as your fasting glucose is fine, and as long as your A1C is fine, they don't really check your fasting insulin, because those two things are okay.
Right. But your insulin could be high behind the scenes, keeping those numbers low.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I don't have a ton of type 2 diabetes in my family. I do feel like my dad was the poster child for all of this stuff, because he's the one that had all of the things, and it was all, I know now that it was all diet. And, he ended up dying of Alzheimer's a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, he gained all the weight, the big belly, so all the visceral fat, I'm sure he had to have had fatty liver. He ended up with type 2 diabetes. And then he got glaucoma. And
did they have him on a statin? Do you know?
Yes, he was on it. Yes. And so now that I know, I wonder if that brought on his dementia even faster. And
the diabetes, and especially in women, there's data representing the fact that women have an increase in their risk of developing high blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. And so that was another reason. And I told my doctor this like 3 or 4 years ago, face to face, when I was at an appointment. I just said, I'm not taking a statin because it increases the likelihood of me getting type 2 diabetes, and it already runs on my mother's side of the family.
Yep.
So I don't.
When his health problems first started, that was back in the, I don't know, 90s or whatever. I don't know. And I mean, I was in high school, but he, his cholesterol came back high, and they put him on a statin. Yeah, I know for a fact he was taking that, and probably for a very long time. And then came the type 2 diabetes, and then came the dementia, and his decline in that dementia was way ahead of the curve. Like, he declined so fast.
That sounds very much like a friend of mine's father, and he's going through that right now. And I have mentioned, but you don't want to sound like the crazy conspiracy theorist person. So you really have to be careful. When I say you, I mean me, because I am passionate about this, and I just think that statins are just terrible. I really don't think anybody should take them, but I've done a lot of reading and research, and I've tried to gently suggest that she do the same thing, because I'm almost convinced that her dad, he's type 2 diabetic now. He wasn't before, and it just breaks my heart, because I am just convinced that he has declined so quickly. He has Alzheimer's now. But you can only plant a seed, and hopefully hopefully she'll see. But he just had to go into a nursing home. So I don't think, I mean, I'm sure he's still getting the statin, and he's getting that terrible diet. And
yeah, now that he's there, they'll probably just continue doing that. But
mm-hmm.
My knowledge came way too late for me to, do anything about it with my dad. My mom would have listened to me. She's listening to me about all this. My mom's heavy meat keto now, and she's lost some weight. And I was talking about her on Lioness last night. She won the prize, Carrie. It was so embarrassing. I'm like, I promise it's not nepotism. We had a giveaway. It was an $80 Japanese knife, like a kitchen knife, and my mom ended up winning it.
Oh, wow.
We had to type roar into the chat, and whoever typed roar into the chat got entered in the drawing, and then the little automatic picker, it picked, and it was my mom. But anyway, she's 70 years old. She helps other people weed their gardens. She can sit on the ground, pull some weeds, get back up. She goes for walks. She's planning 2 international trips and all of that. So, she's doing awesome. So all I can do now is, like what you said, somebody currently going through it. Now I know. So yeah, if I definitely don't keep quiet.
Well, for family, I was now, like, for example, when my mother in 2019 went into the hospital, I stayed with her for 3 weeks while she was in the hospital. And I controlled what she ate.
Yep.
I basically marked, like, for breakfast, she had bacon and eggs.
Yep.
And for, lunch, it was meat and vegetables. There was no bread. And, I don't remember, like, by how many units now, but she was able to greatly reduce the amount of insulin she was taking. And they were like pleasant. Oh, well, you don't need but blah, blah units of insulin. And I told the nurse, I was like, yeah, because she's not eating carbs.
Right.
And so when she got out of the hospital, I explained to her and said, you won't have to take near as much insulin and spend near as much money on medicine, and you'll feel a whole lot better if you eat this way. And then COVID happened.
Yep.
And I wasn't able to, like, just keep on her, because, like, at times they wouldn't even let anybody come into they lived in a retirement community, like in a high rise, a senior high rise. And so they would, have like a quarantine. So basically nobody could leave and nobody could go in either. And I wasn't. Now, my dad actually listened pretty well. So, like, he eliminated bread, and he's really done well up until recently. He's got him a lady love, and she does not eat. Well, she eats what she thinks is healthy, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And he eats what she eats when he's with her.
Yep.
And he's starting to get more in the old middle.
Yep, that's what happens.
And his blood sugar has been elevated, and they told him that he's got pre-diabetes. And I told him, I said, basically, you've got diabetes. It's just diabetes, like, you're just starting.
Right.
I said, so you need to give that crap up.
Yep. Well, that's going to be a tough one if his.
But I just tell him.
Yeah.
It's not like
that's
because
dad, that's different. Hey, Sandra's asking a question, and I don't know the answer, but I put it up here in the hopes maybe you do. So she says, ladies, question. My body stopped making thyroid hormones many years ago. I've been on synthetic thyroid, bought iodine drops because everyone else does them, but I just read taking iodine on top of meds is dangerous.
Dr. Berry has several videos about this subject. So you could go into YouTube and search Dr. Berry iodine thyroid, for example. Based on other people who have had this same question, and based on things that I have seen him tell them, and of course, you always want to work with your doctor on anything and do your own research. However, I have seen Dr. Berry say that everybody needs iodine. Every cell in your body needs iodine. And that it is a misconception out there that iodine is harmful if you have thyroid issues. So I would really recommend that you watch his videos. He can explain it. He's very good as well, like Dr. Bickman is, in terms of explaining things in layman's terms to where you can understand what he's talking about. And he also cites studies. He has references in his show notes. So if by chance you did maybe talk with your doctor about it, and let's say that your doctor was not happy, you could print out the studies and the information and, ask your doctor if they would go over it with you, or, just have a discussion. But Dr. Berry's videos are very educational, and I think it would do you a lot of good to watch those.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, it's not every cell in your body needs iodine. And so stopping iodine because of thyroid issues it's sort of one of those myths out there.
Yeah, I know I've seen him recommend for sure iodine. I don't know about the interactions with medication, but Susan is chiming in here and she says that she's been on synthetic thyroid medication since April of 2022 and that she started taking potassium with iodine about 2 months ago. So if that helps you, Sandra, thank you for that, Susan. And Chase Cox is new here.
Well, hi.
So, welcome, new person, Chase Cox. I love all the cats. How do you guys know? I have a whole playlist on my channel about my cat Pixel, and Chase, my cat Pixel kind of looks like your cat there. She kind of looks like that. She is now on a proper cat diet. So she is eating carnivore like a cat should. And she has all kinds of energy and just doing great. So yes, that's the second cat I've seen on little.
And I have a cat too.
Yes, Carrie has a cat too. How's your cat doing? I know you have a senior cat.
Well, he's very energetic and he's doing well overall. But for some reason in the night, he will do one of two things. He will either wake me up thinking he's hungry, or he will get sick to his stomach. And as soon as I hear that noise, I'm shooting out of bed. It's like a mother with their baby, and when you first bring your baby home and the baby just whimpers and you're jumping up to see what's wrong. Well, it's the same type of just inner reaction. So I have not been getting the best sleep that I could in about the last maybe 3 or 4 months because he does that. But here's the problem. He's so happy otherwise. So I know he's got low, his kidney functioning has dropped. So, but we really don't know. And they wanted to do some kind of exploratory surgery. And I was like, nah, you ain't doing that.
No.
So as long as he's happy and healthy, then I'll just, because he's my buddy. He sits by my feet while I work during the day, and he's my buddy.
When we were teaching online, my cat would give the students a walk by at least once right on my keyboard, right past the camera. And they were like, oh, hi, Pixel. But William has a dog, and he just got back from a walk with Luna, his pooch. So my cat Pixel has a leash, and we put her on the leash. I mean, it's like a harness, so it won't choke her. But yeah, she has like a cat harness, and we take her outside. But she won't walk. We can't go for a walk. She won't go, but she'll go out there, and it's like her favorite thing in the world. And in fact, when you try to bring her in and take the harness off, she gets very mad. Yeah, she can attack you. You have to be very careful because she doesn't want to come in and take the harness off.
Oh, I have a friend who has a pooch the pooch's name is actually Lunatic. But
Lunatic, that's great.
But they call her Luna for short.
I love that.
She's so sweet, but this dog is so just hyper, for lack of a better term. She's still very immature. She's still pretty young, but she's big. And so that makes it a little difficult. But she is just the sweetest thing. And she'll just love you to death. And she'll just but if she licks your face one time, I mean, because she's so big, and it's so big giant tongue. Just it's funny. But she's a sweetheart.
Well, that's cute. Yeah, I made my beef bone broth this weekend. And people have been asking, I don't know if you asked me, I don't know. A couple people asked me with Pixel's new diet, because I put her on a carnivore diet, but it's like cat food. It's not like off my plate. And several people have asked me, like, are you going to start feeding her table scraps? And I say no, because I don't think I can get her to eat them, because she likes all the seafood, and I hate all the seafood. But I thought, well, let me try giving her some of my beef bone broth. So we tried chicken. That video's gotten like 500 something views, because I'm like, the cat that doesn't like chicken. And she was like mad at me. She looked at me like, how dare you give me this chicken? Bring me the tuna immediately. But I thought, let me try this beef bone broth. I'm going to make it without salt, because I don't know if salt's bad for cats or not. So I just figured,
that's a good question.
I didn't know. So I left the salt out, and I just did the beef bones with the water, my Instant Pot, made the broth. And the next day I heated some up, because it's gelatinous, right? Like so I kind of heated up just a little bit to get it liquidy and put it in her bowl. And I got that same dirty look, like, how dare you feed me beef? No, no, and no. And so this is all on video. I put it on my channel because it was funny. I took that away, cleaned out the bowl, and I put her like salmon broth that I buy her, and oh yeah, she like ate it all. And I'm like, see, it wasn't that she wasn't hungry. She was like, I'm not doing beef. So,
and like he likes the juice that's in my sardine cans.
Oh yeah, I have a can of sardines, and I think my cat's gonna end up with it, because I can't bring myself to eat them, Carrie. I don't know how you guys do it. I bought them with the best of like intentions after listening to Dr. Boz. Not that I was going to do a sardine fast, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to give them a try. No, I haven't tried them.
Well, if you like hot sauce, I'm telling you, you can just drench them in hot sauce, and it's delicious. And just don't look at them. Now, here's the thing for me, though. If the consistency, like if the texture is bad on something, then, for example, cod livers. I know I've beaten that horse to death. I like the taste of the cod livers, but the texture is just slimy. And so it's harder for me to eat those. I just make myself do it, and it doesn't gag me. So it's just that the texture of my brain is just like, this texture, I don't like it, but I can eat it. Sardines is different. It doesn't have a slimy texture. And if I'm not looking at it, and just like I mix it real good in the hot sauce, and then I eat it with a spoon, and I just, take spoonfuls of it, and it's got all the hot sauce in with it, and it's good. It's like tuna fish.
Okay. I mean, I can eat canned tuna. It's not like I like it, but like I can eat it. And I've heard that it's kind of like tuna, which is why I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this a try, but I just can't do it. Do you buy the ones with the bones in there? Because I heard you're supposed to, because the calcium, and I just keep thinking I'm going to feel those bones in my mouth and freak out.
Mine has the bones and skin. Now it doesn't have heads.
Right.
And it's Beach Cliff brand, and I order them from Amazon. You can also get them at like Kroger, that brand. But if you wanted to try that.
You don't notice the texture of those bones at all. It's just like one texture. All right. I might have to.
Pretty much once in a while. And I mean, it's kind of funny. Like once in a while you might notice a little something, but it's not anything that's drastic or that's like shocking to you or anything. It's just, you might think, oh, that's a little different, but it's not anything that's gonna hurt or poke you or anything like that. It's not, and it doesn't gag me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe it'll motivate me if I make a video. Like, people would watch that, right? I tried sardines for the first time.
I have a video where I did that. All right. That was like my first or second video. I think it was my second, because my first one was my introduction. So the production on the video is very poor.
Yeah, first videos are terrible. In fact, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to get my first sprint and my last sprint side by side. And I was recording that was like my very first video, because I didn't video myself sprinting every day, but I videoed the first one and the last one. I thought I could put them side by side, and that'd be interesting to see if like my form changed or whatever. No, because I was recording in such a high resolution, because I didn't know whatever. It was a mess, and I can't get that video back because I was having to like delete them. I don't even know where it is. It's not in my Canva because I didn't do it there. I was like trying a bunch of other editing softwares back then, and like none of them were working, and it was freezing up my computer. And I'm like, dang it. I mean, you can watch it on my YouTube, but it won't even let me download it back off YouTube, because it's like HD, and it's like going to make me pay for like the YouTube, like premium or whatever, just to even download my own video off of YouTube. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, I tried, but yeah, that was a fail. But yeah, so my first videos, it's the same. They're a mess, but you know, every time you do one, Carrie, you get better, right? Like I
Yes,
know
you
I
do.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think that I get better each time I do one. I'm not sure how the audience feels, but I would like to think that I'm getting better each time.
Yeah. So the best thing was after that interview that I did with Alia about like my perspective as a teacher on the standard American diet in schools and like what I see in students, it's been really nice because I mean, I get positive feedback here and there, but I mean, the outpouring of positive feedback was even you just before we were talking you know, live when we're just chatting before this. It's just really nice because you feel like, okay, maybe you're, you know, developing a little bit more and being able to do these interviews and, you know, all of that. You know, it's just nice. People are like, oh, you're just natural on camera, and like all these really nice comments. And like, this was like the best and most disturbing interview I've watched in a long time. And I'm like, yes, because it's very disturbing what this is doing, you know, to our kids. But yeah, it's just you can kind of get that feedback from people, and it's just kind of validating and cool. Like as you're going through doing this, because yeah, we're just putting ourselves out there and hoping that it's helping somebody, one person. I don't know.
Yes, and you know, I think that in the carnivore community, it's important to present yourself well, no matter what you're doing, or to do your best. You certainly don't want to be annoying, so I try very hard to limit my ums and your nos. They sneak in there.
In California, however, we do the like. It was like. So my thing is the like.
So what I've found is, if in looking at other people's videos and then also in responses to mine, it's if you do have good content or something useful, people will tend to overlook some of that. And I have also seen where people go edit crazy to where they just cut out, like somebody's head will be here, and then because they say or something, they splice it out, and then the next thing you know, their head's over here. Or so it's just, well, bold.
Hello, bold friends. Bold says hello.
Hello.
I like it. Hi, Bold.
For some reason I heard that in a Mrs. Doubtfire voice.
Yes, hello. For sure. So yeah, I'm gonna go on Saturday to the chicken, the pasture raised eggs farm, and conduct an interview. And I'm so excited about it. And now there's like a few people in here, so I'm gonna go visit this pasture raised chicken thing, like I said, and I'm gonna interview the farmer person who I don't know. But hey, on Carnivore, I don't have any anxiety about going there with my camera and my little rinky-dink setup and like talking to some stranger. I'm fine with it. But I was wondering if any of you have questions that you want me to ask, like stuff you want to know about those pasture-raised eggs, or the process, or anything from a person who does it. I know they've been doing pasture-raised eggs for, I think, 15 or so years. California changed their regulations on eggs a while back. About the raising of the chickens and the treatment of the chickens and all of that stuff. Not that all chickens have to be pasture raised, but there's like regulations. I don't know what they are, but they did change them. And I think when that happened, this place went full on, you know, pasture raised. And anyways, I just was wondering if any of you guys have questions you want me to ask, because I am going to interview them and then put that interview up on my channel.
I would just like to know what is considered pastured.
Okay. So like, what is the difference? Like, why are they considered pasture raised as opposed to like organic or free range? Okay.
And what the differences are, and are they significant differences?
Differences in nutrition of the eggs?
There's differences in how they're fed. What they eat, how they're housed, whatever. What the difference between, like, what would give one a designation of one versus another?
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested on there too. I'm interested in that too, and I'm jotting it down in my little chicken scratch. I probably won't be able to read.
I do the same thing.
But yeah, I'm interested to know if they know about the like exact, because I know that's one of the things I have switched to. So my beef that I eat, I don't right now have any grass-fed beef. We are going to buy a grass-fed cow and split half of it between me and my brother and my mom. That's not happening I think we're going to go order it like October 20th, and then we'll get it after that. So, but up to now, I haven't, I'm not that worried about the beef. I kind of just listen to, I mean, yes, it's better, but like not that much better, kind of what Dr. Berry kind of says, and I can't really afford it and all of that. But I feel like from what I've heard, the eggs can be a big difference. So I have switched to the pasture raised eggs. So I'm interested to see. And then I buy them just from, it's like the Happy Egg in the yellow carton from Walmart. They're pasture raised, but I'm going to buy some from this, like the actual farm. See if I notice a difference between even like that. I don't know. And then, yeah, like I've heard some of the things about the differences between organic and free range, but I'm curious to know, like, yeah, what does that exactly look like, and how that makes
just what the definition is. Like, for example, like my son and his wife, they have chickens and they eat a lot of eggs themselves. And actually, I think I'll tell you one thing that happened to one of their chickens, and I didn't know this could happen, but an egg got stuck.
Oh, and yeah, then it can get rotten, right? It can get rotten in there and stuff.
They tried to help the chicken, but they couldn't save it. They couldn't save it. So one of their chickens, that's what happened to one of them. I think a critter got one. So I don't think they've got very many chickens left, just by virtue of it. It is difficult to keep chickens alive.
I have a story about that. Believe it or not, I have a story about that. So nobody's probably familiar with California, but in California, there's this little mountain town called Julian, and I used to live there. It's just a few thousand people out in the country, up in the mountains. Anyways, so when I was in high school, I like house sat for some people that had like a big, fancy house, way nicer than anything we've ever lived in. Big fancy house and like a guest house and all the things. And they went, I don't know where they went, but, and they had chickens is my point. And, every day, religiously every day after school, I drive my old 77 Toyota Corolla hatchback.
Hey, those were dependable cars.
Seriously, but this was like 1992. Anyway, so I drove my old, barely running hatchback out there and every day and did all the things I was supposed to do and watered all the things. And it was just mostly outside. Like I didn't go in their house, but it was like keeping their outside, landscaping, watered and but yeah, feeding their chickens. And I am not kidding. Like chickens were dropping like flies over there. Like I think by the time they got back, I thought I was going to be in trouble. I thought I was going to owe them money. Like they're paying me to take care of and like just chickens were just dying. And I didn't know what to do with a dead chicken. Like what do I know?
Oh my gosh.
So I just left the chicken. I'm like, I don't know what to do with a dead chicken. I really didn't know. And there I am. I was, barely driving. So 16.
Yeah.
They're out of town and there's not cell phones. I can't just call. Like I didn't have their number. Like they didn't leave me a contact.
Right. That's true. That was a whole different age then.
So I thought I'm so dead. I thought I was going to be dead. Like the chickens and then me. I was the next victim because I killed the chickens. They were fine. Like they were like, yeah, it happened. So I don't know how many chickens they had, but I know several of them died on my watch and I just fed them. I don't know. And I didn't think anything was breaking in like there, cause it's out in the, there's mountain lions out there. There's bobcats out there. There's coyotes out there, but they were inside their fence. So they just died. I'm like, this is crazy.
I can tell I can tell that the yolks are darker and they have more flavor to them. Like you don't have to add, like I can not add salt to the eggs that my son would give me and be fine. Like typically if I eat a hard-boiled egg and it's just eggs that I bought, even though they say they're pastured or whatever, I don't know. The eggs that I get from my son, which now are few and far between because like I said, I think they're going to have to get some more chickens because they just kind of gradually, like, for example, eggs getting stuck. Like I said, I never heard of that. That's wild. So, yeah.
I wish I could do chickens. I just can't. I don't have I'll just go to the place, the people that do them and just buy them from them. But so William says pasture raised means they're allowed to, I think, forage and get direct sunlight. And yes, I have noticed that deep orange color, like what you and Carrie were just saying. It's a huge difference in the color. And to me, that's got to mean there's more nutrition in there. Like, I don't know, but to me, that's what that means. But William, do you know anything about their diet? Like if they're pasture raised, are they allowed to be fed other stuff, or
that's kind of what I'm wondering, because actually my son does get chicken feed.
Yeah.
So they feed them chicken feed, but then they also are free range.
Right. And they can forage for like insects, but like, does that mean it's okay to feed them this other chicken feed? And like, what's the quality of that? And like, I don't know. I just don't know anything about it. I'm like excited to go do this because I do want to learn and I want to see how these chickens get to live, you know, and how they do it. So, and then, yes, Ron. Yes, I 100%. This reminds me of a Mike comment. Yep, I completely chickened out. Absolutely, I did. So, and then the other thing, this is an interesting story. So the pasture raised, the grass fed beef ranch that we're going to go get our cow from. I wanted to do kind of a similar thing, but my mom was going to be calling them about the prices. So I said, well, when you call them about the prices and stuff, ask them if, if they don't mind if I come up and just kind of talk to them and bring my, interview and whatever. And at first they were like very guarded. My mom said, like, they were like, well, what happens is PETA will just pretend to be a customer.
Oh,
and come in and harass them.
No wonder then.
Yep. And then my mom kind of knows, knows everybody. These are like people that live in and around where she lives. And so she knows their parents. Like, they wouldn't know her, but like she knows she's like, well, I'm so-and-so and your parents are so-and-so and I know them and blah, blah, blah. And I was a teacher here and I had so-and-so in my class and this is my daughter. And then it was like, as soon as she said all of that and like did all the names, like all the names of people that, she knows that are in their family, then they were like, oh, absolutely. Cristie can come and, But isn't that crazy though? So PETA will pose as like they have nothing better to do than like bother a rancher.
And here's the thing, I don't believe that there's anybody except for maybe a very sick few people who would want to see an animal suffer for any reason.
Right.
So I believe that people on what I would call our side, like the carnivore side, meat eating side versus the vegan/vegetarian side, we have that in common. Nobody 100%. Wants that.
Yep.
How can somebody justify though harassing someone?
Yes, that's what
especially someone who is not cruel to their animals.
Correct.
And these ranchers, they do this in a very sustainable way, and they treat their animals humanely, and they're able to graze, freely, and they rotate them and everything. So it's like, for an animal, for a cow, that would be a happy life.
100%.
To have the wide open spaces and the grasses that they like, and they'll even rotate different types of grasses. And so it's like, that's a great life for them.
Right.
I don't understand how one can justify being so cruel and mean to
the
others.
Deceit, right? To say that they're a customer.
Just to lie, first of all.
I can understand not wanting animals to suffer, and I can even understand them having their opinion, right? They're adults, like, they can have that opinion. That's great. More power to them. But yeah, when they lie to like get into places just for the purpose of harassing somebody, that's where I couldn't believe what my mom was telling me. I was like, what? And they've experienced it firsthand, which is why at first when my mom didn't say who she was and stuff, they were like, no, we can't do that. Because they thought that I was going to be some, person like that. So
that's terrible.
Isn't that crazy?
It really is.
But it's going to work out, and I'm going to go and visit their place. I told reassured them that I'm like 100% for what they're doing, and I'm excited to come and see their place and their process and how they manage the land and treat their animals and all of that, like the stuff you were saying, the rotating and if they do use different grasses and all of that. So
that'll be a great video too. Yeah, I look forward to watching those, both of them.
I'm excited to get that playlist going. And a lady at work, because she found out I was doing that, told me about a lot more local, like these places are about an hour from my house, but apparently there's some egg places closer, about 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to just try like I didn't find them online. Like I did an internet search and didn't find them, but she told me where they were. So I'm like, I'm going to go just drive over there and just like roll up on them and just see what they say, if they'll talk to me. And yeah, so I'm just interested in like, then once I do one place, what are the differences between the different, farmers, or if they use similar techniques or different techniques or whatever. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
That will be fun. It'll be great to watch. I'm looking forward to it.
So Sandra says her last lot of pasture-raised eggs, the shells were much thinner, maybe not getting enough oyster shell. Yeah, I've never experienced that. I'm not sure.
Oyster shell.
Do they feed that to chickens? I'm ignorant. I don't know.
See, now I've heard Dr. Berry talk about like feeding, like they'll feed their chicken, like chickens apparently can be like carnivorous. And so they'll eat other chickens. They'll eat eggs from what I hear. So maybe I don't know. I might ask my son. I don't know if oyster shell, but here's the chickens wouldn't normally get that, like if they were just wild. So I don't know.
Like if they need calcium to make those eggshells thicker, I wonder what they're eating to get it, like in their normal diet. I don't know.
That's a really good question.
Anyway, good question. Maybe I will ask the farmer. I'm going to put that on my list of questions to ask the farmer. I'm going there on Saturday, video shortly after. So thin shells.
That's true. They may know the answer.
And then I'll remember. Yeah. Then we'll get an answer and I'll let you know. So what is your go-to meal lately? Carrie?
My go-to meal is burger patties. I get my totally lazy meal is I buy the box of burger patties, and I believe there is, what is it, like 36 patties in a box. I get them from a store called Kroger. We have
Ralph's out here, but Ralph's and Kroger, it's like the same. Like you get Kroger brand inside of our Ralph's.
Okay. So you get a box of these burgers, and they're the higher fat ones. The one, I have gotten them, what is it, 27, whatever. Anyway, that's the one that generally you have. But I have actually gotten them that are 70-30 before too. It's just, it's harder to find that beef. But anyway, so basically then I do meal prep either Saturday morning or Sunday morning, just depending on what I have planned. And so I hard boil my eggs, I cook up bacon, I cook up my beef patties, and just have, like, I'll cook up a whole box of them and just have plenty, because I'll eat several in a day. Like I'll eat, I mean, they're not huge. And one thing is, because they are higher fat content, they do cook down some.
Yeah.
So like I'll eat like 4 or 5 of those in a day, and I'll eat several pieces of bacon. Sometimes I will cook my eggs and either over easy. I like the yolks runny.
Me too. Over easy is my favorite, but I can only do that on the weekends.
Yeah.
On the weekdays, I cook up my hard-boiled eggs. Question: on your hard-boiled eggs, do you leave them shelled and then unshell them as you eat them, or do you just unshell them all and put them like that?
I unshell them all.
And how long do they last like that? Like once you take the shells out? Because what I do is I cook a batch for the week. Like I'll cook 10.
That's what I do.
And then I'll have like 2 a day because I'll do like 2 eggs and then a thing of my bone broth, like a big cup of my bone broth. But anyway, my point is, I didn't know if they would last like Monday through Friday. Like if I took the shells off Monday morning, would they stay okay like that and still be fine on Friday?
I've never noticed that any of mine were gross or any, you know what I mean? I've never noticed anything. And of course, they're not going to last much longer than like about 6 days, because I just make up enough generally for a week anyway.
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't want to leave them in there for, well, I've never left any in there for longer than that, so I don't know.
No, I eat them, but I was just wondering about that because let me tell you, as a teacher, we don't get very long of lunchtime, and to sit there cracking eggs is a big, and sometimes they peel easy, but sometimes they don't. It's like a big waste of my time. So like this week, I on Monday morning, this week, I unshelled, Mondays and Tuesdays, but I was scared to go past that. So today I was there, fortunately the shells came off easy today. So somebody was looking out for me and they just kicked me off.
Like,
so
okay, she needs to eat.
They're picking shells off for 10 minutes so I can eat the dang thing.
I just go ahead and do it. I unshell all of them, and then I just,
okay,
put them in a container in the refrigerator, and then I just eat on them throughout the week.
All right. So I'm going to try that next week and see if they'll last me through, Monday through Friday, because it's just so much easier to make them, peel them all, and then just take them like that. It's just been, believe it or not, I have a student in my class this year with a severe egg allergy. Like he's allergic to a bunch of things, but his most two severe ones are all nuts and eggs. And so I can't even eat in my classroom.
And this is another thing. I just wonder why so many kids are allergic to so many things nowadays. I mean, I sound like my mother making that statement. Sometimes I open my mouth and my mother's voice just comes out.
That happens to me too. At more and more after, I'm 47 now, but since about the age of 30,
yep,
I'll say something and I'll be like, wow, that was my mom.
So, but I do wonder what it is. It's got to just be the crappy food. I just wonder, because especially you've got people who think it's proper to eat vegan/vegetarian, and these poor babies aren't getting nutrition gestationally either, is my thought.
The sad thing is for this particular student, I mean, he's definitely not allergic to meat, and I wish that's what he would be fed. So he's allergic to gluten, eggs, all nuts, and I don't know. It's a bunch of things. Like, I don't even know all the things. I'm like, if it's not a case for carnivore with this person, I don't know what is, but like he'll come to school with like Lay's potato chips.
Oh,
like,
man.
that's what he gets because it's potatoes and there's no gluten in there. And I asked, like, just like, I didn't say anything. I just kind of smiled and said, so if you're allergic to all this, what do you eat? Right. And then he was like, rice, potatoes. I'm like, where's your protein? He's not allergic to meat. I mean, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just too bad.
Yeah. And he's
somehow, but you can't.
Yeah. I can't. I would get in so much trouble as a teacher.
Oh, for sure.
Try to tell that mom or that child, what they should do. I just have to accommodate for the allergy and make sure that, he's not exposed to anything. And this mom is a great mom. Like, she's doing the best she can with what she knows. I mean, she goes out of her way to make like special bread that he can eat and all this stuff, I mean, I'm not saying that's good for him, but I'm saying she's like trying really hard. She's not lazy.
Right. She's trying to accommodate him and trying to make his life better. She just hasn't.
She just doesn't know how to do it.
Received any other information, and probably, but just like the rest of us, until you've been beaten to death with the fact that saturated fat is bad, meat is bad, eating animals makes you an evil person.
Yeah.
When you're beaten to death with that, and then saturated fat and meat cause high cholesterol, and that means that you'll end up with heart disease and yada, yada, yada. So you're just beaten to death with that, and you don't know any better. And so you really don't think about looking at other alternatives.
Yep. Yeah. I just feel I just have a heart now for these poor kids. And that's just one example because I just see it every day. The lack of focus. I have more and more kids coming to my Lindsay. Hi. Oh my gosh. This is my dear friend, Miss Lindsay. There she is. She's a fellow lioness. So so when you watch that replay, Carrie, we did set everybody up for your interview next week.
Okay.
So we let them know who was coming and how awesome you are.
Thank you.
They're ready for you. those lionesses. So yes, there we go. It's very excited.
It's going to be fun.
Yes, we're very excited for our Lioness Live chat. So that's awesome. So anyways, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so yeah, just the lack of focus. I have more and more kids coming to my classroom. I teach 5th grade and they're coming to me at a 1st and 2nd grade level. And we were talking today about a particular student because on Wednesdays we have every Wednesday is a minimum day and the students leave and then the teachers do either our staff meetings or like today we had like a time for us to collaborate. It's called PLC, Professional Learning Community. Everything you teach is an acronym that we have to use. Anyways, and so we have to like, we have to test the kids. We have to gather all the data from the testing, and then we have to like plan our instruction and then test the kids again after 6 weeks and then see how the data changed and then kind of go from there. So that's what it is. But we're doing that today. So, I was just talking about one particular student who was tested in math and has gaps in kindergarten geometry. Do you know what kindergarten geometry entails? Because it's like, this is a square and this is a triangle and this is a...
Oh, no.
And they're sitting in my 5th grade classroom with no special education, no IEP, no special anything, just a regular gen ed student. So, I'm just seeing that. That's not that far out of the norm anymore.
Right.
That's the part that gets me. You would get one like that once in a blue moon. There's an expression for you. You're my friend who has all the cool expressions. Once in a blue moon, we would get a kid like that. We'd get a kid who couldn't spell their last name. And I'm not kidding. We still get them, but.
And it wasn't Shizminski either.
No, we're talking like a 5 Smith or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I couldn't spell it. I had a couple last year that did not know their birthday. Like, what does that mean? That means their families aren't celebrating their birthday, and it's not because they're religion or something like that. They literally do not know their own birthday. So, we do get them. It's been few and far between, and now it's like with such a high frequency. Mm-hmm. And then they can't even pay attention when you're, trying to do a lesson. And it's more and more on the teachers. It's not even put on the students. It's not their responsibility to pay attention. It's our responsibility to engage them, which means make it fun so that they will pay attention to you. And I'm not saying teachers shouldn't do that. Like, we should absolutely have engaging lessons. But what I'm saying is it's our fault if they're not engaged, right? If our lesson if they didn't learn it, it was because our lesson wasn't fun enough. Right. And yeah, all this is happening as a result of just the constant sugar that they're getting in their school breakfast. I put it in air quotes because it's not food.
And then, if the child is in, for total lack of a better term, just like if a child is bad enough or severe enough or whatever, then they put them on medicine, and that's wrong. They need a decent diet. They don't need drugs.
Right. Yeah, most of the time, I would say it would be something that could be fixed with diet, and probably was caused in the first place by diet. Mm-hmm. I think there would be very few cases of like maybe the true actual cases, and you can kind of tell the difference. But yeah, just the amount of like sleepiness, the amount of I have a headache. I need to go see the counselor because I'm not getting along with my friend and now I'm in tears and I can't do my work. Like, I literally had that yesterday. And then I said, no, you can't just leave my classroom to go to the counselor. But if you fill out the form, she'll make an appointment with you. Well, my last year teacher just let me go whenever I want. And I'm like, no, I am not your last year's teacher. So if you need to go to the restroom and wash your face because she's, crying, then go do that and gather yourself and come back and go make an appointment with the counselor, and the counselor will come find you when she's available. But no, you can't just walk out to go to the counselor during your science lesson because you're sad about your, whatever. And just the emotions, they take over. Like, they're so emotional. Like, why are you like, I get it. Like, kids have issues with their friends. I'm not saying they don't. And part of my job is to listen to them. But like during science, we got to do science. We can't, we can't cry and we're not talking some major life event. We're not talking some major trauma. We're talking some just little girl drama or whatever, between these little girls. But she literally,
when you think about it, and I know that each generation is different, I get that. But at the same time, think about this, and I'm sure that most people in the chat and who are watching most people would probably identify with this. When you were in, let's say, 5th grade, and would you be able to leave your classroom for something like that?
No,
You would never even have the nerve to ask.
No.
It wouldn't even occur to you to ask that.
Nope. And there wasn't a counselor on campus either. We didn't have a school counselor in elementary school, not at my school.
Yeah, I don't think we did either. We might have had one in high school.
Yes, but like for academic counseling.
Yeah, right? We had an academic, but I don't think we had anything for, well, no, I don't think we did for, like, lack of a better word again, emotional or whatever. We didn't have anything like that.
Yep.
I don't even think there was anything like that when my kids were in school either. I mean,
so there's a full-time counselor on every campus, and they spend their days pulling children out of their academic lessons to run like friendship groups and like how to handle your anxiety and your anger and your whatever. And they'll miss class a couple times a week. And, they try to work with us. Like, it's not the counselor's fault. Like, they try to work with us and pull them at the most, the best time that could be, possible to have. But, they're always going to be missing something.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, that's what they do. There's a person, literally, we have just over 500 students in our school, and all day, every day, the counselor's busy pulling them out, pulling them groups and talking about that stuff, because it's so prevalent, right? It's so like, they just can't handle it. When they have emotions, they can't handle it. And they just freak out, that's not like what the counselor would say. The counselor wouldn't say they were no, but I'm not a counselor. I was raised old school. So
exactly. And it's like, well, and we were talking before about insulin and how and your glucose, and the fact that eating so much carbohydrate, and then you factor that in with the snacks that you're told you need to eat to be healthy, your rice cakes and your wheat thing, your little wheat crackers or whatever. And of course, you might eat some raw vegetables or something. You might eat some carrots or something, but even that, I mean, that's carby too, not as bad as the other, but you get my point. So, but their insulin is just staying up to constantly, push that glucose down. And their poor bodies are just suffering for it. And they don't have enough healthy fats for their brains to be able to think and concentrate, and to also to grow. And it's like what we were talking about too, about Alzheimer's. Same difference. They aren't getting the healthy fats either, that like the myelin sheath and for your nerves and all of that. You're not getting any of that, and so your poor brain is starving.
Yeah, I know. My dad turned into a different person. Like, he had no filters anymore. My dad was a pastor, and he started saying all this like these crass things that I would never like repeat, and he would never do that. It was like he just lost any filter that was ever there, went away. And it was like, it wasn't like it didn't even make sense when he would say it, but it was just completely crass too at the same time. And it's just,
and it's so difficult to see someone that you love going through something like that, or someone that you care about or know very well, somebody that you've known most of your life, a friend, or just whoever it is. Like my friend's dad, it's tough seeing him like that.
Yep.
And he doesn't have a filter either.
I'm just, William was saying good night. So good night, William. If you're
William.
Already popped off, but good night. And then I did do a short, Lindsay. I did a short because we were out there. It was actually on 9/11, actually. And our school always invites the local fire house, like the firefighters come, and like also any military, like dads or moms that are in the military or have been in the military come, and they can, wear their uniform, and put them on the stage and all that good stuff. And we just kind of like thank them and honor them, and just do a little like a hero day kind of a thing, Patriot Day. So, anyways, it was on that day, and this lady comes walking up to me. She looked kind of familiar, and she used to work with me like 15 years ago. She's actually on my campus. So 15 years ago, we were at a different school site, and they actually shut that site down when they built my current school site. And so they shut that site down. I didn't really know her very well, but I knew her then. And then, now I'm over at my current school site, and unbeknownst to me, she also works there. And I know that sounds weird, but we have a preschool program and they're really, really separate. So like I never even see a preschool kid or a preschool teacher or anything. So she works in the preschool program and I didn't know she was over there. And up she comes walking over to me. I see the librarian kind of like pointing her in my direction. And I was like, what's going on? And she comes over and she's asking me if I'm the person doing the carnivore diet. And I said,
oh
yes.
my gosh.
And she said, oh yeah, the librarian told me all about it. And she said, I'm really interested. And she said, I should talk to you, and it's like, we've got the firefighters. It's like a serious, I can't have this in-depth conversation right then. We're about to do the national anthem and all the things. Right. So I said, I told her about my channel. I told her to subscribe and just check it out. In fact, it was right after that when I made like a quick guide to starting keto or carnivore, because I thought these people are coming to me and I'm sending them to my channel and it doesn't tell them how to get started. It just tells them how awesome I feel, So I made that video real quick and threw it up there just in case she went on. But yeah, because I was trying to schedule a time with her, come to my room at lunch or come to my room after school. Well, our lunches are totally different times and they school much later, they're there much later than the elementary. So anyways, but it was cute because she's older and she goes, well, I've never done that before. She didn't know. So I said, give me your phone. And so I showed her how to get to YouTube and I showed her my channel and I hit the subscribe button and everything. And I haven't seen her since because she works in the preschool and our paths don't cross, but I'm going to try to make it a point, to either go talk to her or the school librarian kind of knows everybody because she's the librarian.
Yeah, she sees everybody. She sees everybody. All the grade levels.
They all have to come to library. So I might talk to her too and kind of see if she knows how she's doing. And she wasn't the only one. Another lady who works in the office, I've got her going. In fact, I had some extra heavy cream for a lot of reasons, but I had a lot of extra heavy cream and I told her to switch her milk out for heavy cream because we were trying to get her on a keto, go keto from Standard American. And she told me, oh, well, I just put a little milk in my coffee. I said, try heavy cream instead and let's do that. And so anyways, I had a bunch extra. So I brought her some the other day. She was very happy, but to give that a try. But yeah, we sat down for 45 minutes because she was like, I'm really excited about this, but I just don't know. When I told her to count, to track carbs at first, so she kind of knows what it feels like to get 20 carbs. I said, you don't have to track forever, but just so you know that you're getting 20. Well, what she didn't know what I meant by that. I had to explain food labels. Yeah. So there's people out there that really just don't know how to read a label. They don't really know what a carb is even. And so, yeah, so it was cool to sit down with her. She was excited about it. She kind of gives me little daily updates. We often pull in the parking lot at the same time, and she tells me how she's doing. And yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. So
it does make you feel good when you somebody that you either work with or someone in your family or just whatever, but you're living a quiet example. Yeah. You just feel good and you don't hesitate on telling people how good you feel or whatever, or acting upon feeling that good, racing your students, for example. They're going to be wow, she's actually running a race with her students.
Yep.
That is.
Yep.
And it's important because then when you're just going about living your life and you're just doing these things, you're just being active, you're positive, you're not to say every day is perfect because we all know that that's not what happens, but how you handle things, how you function, you don't snap, you're not grumpy, just whatever. And people notice. Oh, they notice.
Yeah. Both of those examples I just said, they came to me. I didn't go to them. Both of them came to me and said, I heard about this. Are you doing this? And how do I do it too? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go preach at them. I mean, they saw my energy. They saw my, I did lose a little weight. They saw that. I've got pep in my step. And then the librarian knows everything. And she's a good friend of mine. We've worked together forever. She's retiring after this year. And I'm so sad because I've been in teaching since 2000 and she's been my school librarian like that whole time. So good for her to go retire and spend more time with her husband. But I'm sad for myself, happy for her, sad for myself and my students because she's just amazing. That's why I put Sandra's comment up here. Mm-hmm. So I would even double that for school librarians because, oh my gosh, the school could not run without them. But absolutely, I love our school librarian. She's awesome. Well, Carrie, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes.
It's been fun. It goes fast, doesn't it?
I looked up, I'm like, oh, we're like beyond our hour for sure.
It does. It just flies. The next thing you know, it's like, wow, it's over already. Yeah. Wow. But that's a good sign.
I think this is our third one, and we've done it like once a week, and we're not running out of stuff to say yet.
No, not yet. But it's difficult to run out of, because for one thing, just different experiences and things that you notice. It's like there's always something that it just occurs to you that it's like, oh wow, this. Mm-hmm. It's just it's great. And I guess that's all I have on that. I don't know. Just suddenly had a brain fart. But funnily enough, though, when you're carnivore, you don't have very many of the other ones. And I don't have near as many of the brain ones either. Yeah, I wonder if the brain ones are detrimental to the environment. Oh yeah, don't know. We might have to do some research into that.
You know what's funny is I didn't really think about the other ones, and until I've heard you and a few, like Mike and a few other people talking about how you don't hardly ever do that, and I got to thinking, like, I can't think of the last time, and I'm like, now I'm thinking about it. When is it going to happen? Never. I don't know.
The potty talk,
The potty talk is all the potty talk, and then I'm like, yeah, I haven't done that, and I don't know how long. I can't remember when.
Dr. Barry's got a poop video that's hilarious, and he counts how many times he says poop in it, but it is funny.
Poop counter at the bottom. Yeah. Oh, I should add a poop counter because I did every carnivore has to do a poop video or they don't give us our carnivore card, And so I did my poop video. It wasn't all about poop, but there was a section about poop for sure because we all got to do one, and so I did. But I didn't have a counter though. I need to add a counter. That's funny.
Mine doesn't have a counter. I did one about when I didn't have running water for a couple of days.
Yes.
And how I was very thankful that I didn't consume all that fiber because it would have been a big stinky mess.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh. I'm glad all that's behind you and you got all
Boy, me too. But it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Carrie, this has been fun. I've got to run. My son's got to get picked up soon. My son does robotics, by the way. I know you're all into like computer stuff. So they have teams, and on his team, he's the programmer. So he writes all of the code that makes the robot work. So they have like somebody that builds the robot. Well, they have somebody that does AutoCAD and like CADs the robot out. Mm-hmm, and then they have the person who builds the robot, and then my son programs the robot.
That's awesome.
Someday you and he will have to talk because I think you speak the same language that I don't speak.
Yeah, or he could talk to my son. My son my son is an engineer, but he also does he also has dabbled in with like the CAD programming and stuff, the CAD, all that.
Yep. So anyways, I'll keep you posted on that. There's going to be a big robotics competition this year. They do have a big competition. So we'll find out if his robot can beat the other robots.
That'd be great. That is fascinating. I used to watch a TV show that came out. It was some kind of a competition where people would build the robots, but then these would like battle.
Yeah. Yes. I know what show you're talking about. Yeah. No. When I checked out their program, this was years ago, it had to do with like, they were like simulating the moon landing or something somehow with these robots. I don't really know, but I saw it was like a big, like artificial moon, and they had to like maybe drive the robot the way the lunar rover did or something. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
And like to do it the most accurately and the best. So who knows? It's different every year, like what they have to make their robot do. So yes.
Well, that'll be interesting. Yeah, keep us up to date on that for sure.
I will. My other son is going to college for getting his drone. His drone class starts next month. But yeah, he's going to get his drone certification because he's interested in all of that. So he gets to like actually be certified in like, it's part of their geospatial program. So it's within the like geology geospatial department. And so it's like a whole year-long course that is kind of new. In his college, he goes to junior college. It's the first junior college in the state to offer it. So it's kind of cool that it's like 5 miles from our house.
Nice.
I'm excited because next month the actual drone class starts. So he's been doing his other, like his math and his English and all that, but that started in August. But yeah, he starts drones next month, and I'm like super excited to see what he gets to do for that.
Oh yeah, that would have to be fun. I mean, I know that there's a lot to it, and nothing is fun all the time, but that would have to be. I would think that would be fun.
Yeah, and I think it's like up and coming in the job. Like a lot of different industries use drones and need drone pilots for what they're doing, because they're starting to add that to what. In fact, even farmers need drones. They use them to survey all their crops and their whatever they're raising. Yeah. And
real estate agents, for example, use them for posting online because now people don't even go look at a house or anything without looking at it online first.
Yeah. So I'm excited for him to learn all that stuff and get going on that. So anyway, I know.
All right.
Now, but
keep us up to date on all that stuff. I just find it fascinating.
I used to love like they're both like they want to do these like more modern, like computer programming and like drone pilots. What? That was like not even really, I mean, computer programming, but not as prevalent as it is now,
Right.
And then with the drones, that definitely wasn't an option. So, when I was in high school. So I just think it's cool that there's those things out there now that they can do. So
I do too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging in, the 5 of you that are left. And we will see you guys next time. I don't know, Carrie and I will schedule something, but for sure Tuesday, Lioness Lifestyle.
Oh yeah, Tuesday for sure.
Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And what time for you, Carrie?
7 Central.
7 Central.
No, wait a minute. What time was that again? Hold on.
It's 5 Pacific or 8 Eastern.
Okay, if it's 8 Eastern, it's 7 Central.
7 Central. And then Miss Lindsay, who was on earlier, I don't know if she's still on, but she's the other one. She's the mountain. So on that live stream, we're going to have all 4 time zones represented.
Oh, wow. Now, is anybody living in Arizona? Because that'll just really throw a monkey wrench into it.
I can't even. I have a story about that, but I'll save that for another time. Remember to tell you about when I lived right on the border of Arizona and California and what fun that was.
Oh, I bet it was.
I'll tell you about it another time because we're already almost an hour and a half and people are like, what are they talking about?
Oh, well, they love us.
They do. We love you back too.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'm going to hit the end button. So good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.